This week on Outdoor Oklahoma, fishing Lake Elmer Thomas in southwest Oklahoma can be exciting for any angler. But for one special young man, it was literally the trip of a lifetime. Spend a day on this great fishery, sight fishing largemouth bass. Right now on Outdoor Oklahoma. Is it cold today? Hello and welcome to Outdoor Oklahoma. I'm Todd Craighead. Looking forward to catching up with my buddy Brian Moorhead that just texted me and said he's here from out of town.
Hello, Todd.
Hey man, Brian, how are you?
I'm great. How about yourself?
Long time no see. I'm great.
Yes, sir.
Where's your baskets? Not full of stuff yet?
I've got a counter full already up there ahead of you.
Okay, so tell me about this bass club that you sponsor.
Well, the Oklahoma Bass Nation is doing such a great job. The numbers in the state have just doubled. My club has doubled.
Wow.
It's awesome to see these kids in the outdoors now.
Now, Brian, you're actually the club sponsor, right?
Yeah, I coach the Drummond High School team, and the school that I'm at, they actually incorporated into their high school sports program. So awards banquets and all of that, they're all part of that also. So it's pretty cool.
That is awesome. You know, we recently went on a fishing trip with a couple guys that you set us up with. Man, that was awesome.
Yeah, Dylan Whitley, one of my seniors last year, and probably the hardest working fisherman of the bunch. And we have a local Bassmaster FLW pro, Jay Brainard, that lives there in Enid, and he took Dylan out for a little sight fishing on one of the best lakes in the state, Elmer Thomas. That
was an awesome day. And,
yes.
And it was a fun day for us, but I know it was extra special for Dylan.
Oh yeah, he's still on cloud nine after going to fish with Jay Brainard all day and get to go with you guys.
We're out on a lake that neither one of us have ever been to before, and Dylan's a high school angler from Drummond, and he decided to come out here with me and kind of learn how I break down a body of water I've never been to, whether it be for a tournament or for fun fishing. So we're both going to try to learn something today, learn something about this lake, and he's going to kind of learn how I do things on tour whenever I'm practicing.
Pretty much on their beds and stuff. I like being able to like see the bass and like sight fishing.
Yeah, it's the way it's setting up, they should be in all stages of the spawn. So it kind of should be on the back end of it, towards the back end, based on seasonal, but we won't know until we get on the water and see the water temperature. And you know, a lot of times it's not even about water temperature, it's about the amount of daylight. So they might have started earlier this year and it could be kind of over, or they could be in all stages, or there might be some more moving up, like a second, third, fourth wave of fish. So we'll just have to get out there and see. Love you. Be a good boy, okay? Okay? Love you. Okay.
I guess we'll be around.
Yeah, all right. Love you. Don't go to Lawton. Don't get bit by a snake. You excited, man?
Oh yeah.
Heck yeah. I think we'll have a pretty good day. I hope that wind stays laying down like that.
Yeah,
so we can see them.
Yeah.
So the first thing I'm always gonna do is look at my water temperature this time of year. You know, obviously being this time of year, they should be spawning and some should be pulling off, but
alrighty.
We'll, early I'll hit, you know, some transition areas. Like you see how this is going from kind of, you know, the water's up just a little bit. It looks like it's probably more of a pea gravel type of bank, and then it comes to these bigger boulders.
Yeah.
So we're gonna hit some of those transitions and points, and then some of the backs of these with some moving baits and see what happens, and hopefully we'll see a few beds and and get to start bed fishing right away. That's always fun. Time during the spawn, especially when you have bluegill present, if I don't get bit pretty soon on this bait, this walking bait, I'm gonna actually switch to a popper. They really like poppers around bluegill, you know, especially when the bluegill start spawning. A lot of times that'll overlap the bass spawn and the bluegill spawn. Yeah. And those bass, when they come off the beds, they'll hang around and get revenge on them and bluegill. That's kind of a love-hate relationship that the bass and bluegill have. They each take advantage of the other one's spawn. I grew up in Enid, Oklahoma on a farm and ranch, and I rodeoed professionally until I was 25, and then decided to go fishing, and I've been really blessed, man. It's been a great life. It's been tough, you know. Fishing is a hard thing to do for a living, but it's been great, you know, and me and my wife and my son are all in, and we're gonna do this as long as we can. You know, I was a bullfighter, and I did freestyle bullfighting and cowboy protection, and it's all about outsmarting an animal. There's a lot more variables in fishing, and which makes it a little tougher. You know, I knew that bull, I knew right where he was, and I knew right what his intentions were. And I got to find these before I fight them, you know, and then I got to keep them on, get them in the boat. But yeah, this fishing's tough, man. And like I was saying earlier, with all the high school kids, college kids coming up, and just all the new technology, it's crazy. You know, the guys on tour and even the local guys, there's a lot of hammers out here these days, you know. And I'm not saying it hasn't always been like that, but technology has really shortened the learning curve a lot. Little bass right there. See him? He left immediately, but we're gonna turn around. But now just kind of visually mark something on the bank there. Mm-hmm. What I'll do is I'll just whip around. I think that was a fry garter. Looked like a male fry garter. Grab you yeah, you're good with that. That'll work. Alrighty. So instead of hitting the trolling motor or dropping the poles, because we were pretty well right on top of him, I'll just keep on going and then just whip around like this. And a lot of times they'll stay right there. But if you stop or blow that trolling motor back on them, it'll spook them. Alrighty. We'll give him just a couple minutes. We'll know within a cast or two how he's acting, if he's gonna eat or not. And when I do this all the time when I'm sight fishing, I want to try to keep the sun at my back. You know, good polarized sunglasses and the sun at your back is still there. Okay, now from this point, I'm really gonna pay attention to how he's acting. This fish is coming in the boat. Okay, so can you see that fish right now? No. It's really hard for me to see it. Sometimes you just gotta feel it though. All right, there you go. That's the male. So, what's the length limit here, do you know? I'm not sure. I want to kidnap him and put him in the live well for a minute. Get right back in there, because a lot of times the female will bite on the very next cast. Nice male. Woo! He had to splash me and get me back for that mess. We're fishing on Elmer Thomas today. And man, this is a phenomenal little lake. I absolutely love it. The amount of structure and cover and the way this has been managed by the Department of Wildlife Conservation has just been great. You know, today we went out and I was gonna show Dylan, a high school guy from Drummond, I was gonna show him how to break down a lake like in practice for a tournament or just fishing a lake you've never been to. I wanted him to learn something new, whether it was breaking down the entire lake or just a certain technique. And we got hung up on sight fishing. He was having such a good time. I was having such a good time. We said, you know what? We're just gonna sight fish. Oh yeah, she's fired up. She might eat. Not as big as it looks, but All right, that's a good 3-something fish. And that fish, I mean, that, you can tell it ain't tournament day, because in a tournament, that would have taken forever. I threw in there, that fish went out about 2 feet, turned around, nose down. I bumped it once and she just crushed it. I used to go to some lakes with my grandfather, and we were always fishing for catfish. But in the farm ponds and everything, you know, all my cousins, all my family, they all went for basically catfish and bluegill and crappie. And when I was 7 years old, I caught a bass. I got the lure right here. I keep this in my boat just to kind of, it was my grandpa and Dad's favorite lure. And I caught one on that little spinner right there that was an ounce shy of 8 pounds whenever I was 7 years old. And I have been ate up with it ever since. So that stays right there. I don't believe in luck, I believe in God, but I kind of like to have that with me. I can tell already, you know, we're talking about pre-fishing for tournaments and figuring out lakes. From what I've seen, I'm gonna do this and locate as many beds as I possibly can. And then I'm gonna find a plan B. I'm gonna idle around, find some points with some brush on them, some big rocks, stuff like that, and try to get on that secondary bite, you know, where the fish that have spawned out that are starting to feed again and gain that weight back. That's exactly what I would do. So today, the fact that we're not practicing for a tournament, we might end up just looking for most of the day already, and hopefully that sun gets up and we'll be able to see a little better.
Got one.
Oh, we've got one happening here. There you go. Good job. Good job, man. All right. So we might have some fish right here. That's a little one, but switch it up, throw a little dream shot. Caught a little one right away. Yeah, I'm all over him with it. I think I see it. See how much line I cut out, dude?
Yeah.
Try not to let him get on the carpet too much. God, that took a little longer than I thought. See if the female don't run out of that bush. There you go. Ate it! I love watching them like that, dude. Did you get it?
No.
Oh, I thought you set the hook, man.
I was sending it to the guy.
All right. Oh my gosh. It's,
Yeah.
see what I'm saying, dude? And dude, I wanted you to catch that fish so bad. We're gonna find you another one. But I'm trying to teach you, you know what I'm saying? The different ways. Cause there's, you know, I told you about getting physical with them and stuff. And you know, reading their body language like that is a real big part of sight fishing. Got a little lighter line on this one. All right. Look how that fish is hooked, dude. That's what I was talking about. My line was probably slack. I wasn't paying attention, and that that fluorocarbon and those rods are so sensitive that you feel everything. It doesn't matter if you got slack line. And see, I don't really reel until I get it all the way in, you know? Like that's slack line, and then hop, hop. He just hit it again. So until it gets to the bottom of the bed, just keep slack line snapping it.
He taught me a lot of things today. I learned that sometimes, like whenever you're sight fishing, that it could take anywhere from a couple casts to get a fish in to anywhere from like probably, it could go on all day for with just one fish. And sometimes you gotta get aggressive with them.
Got him, got him. Woo! Get him in the boat. That is not a big fish, but that boy worked his tail end off for that fish. Good job, dude. Give me some right up there. Yeah. Did you learn something there?
Oh yeah.
Reaction bite, dude. Second time he threw in there, jerk, jerk, he just crushed it. Good job, dude. I'm not messing around. This is a really clear lake, but when I'm sight fishing, I'm aggravating a fish. I'm not worried about him looking at the line. And you know, they say fluorocarbon doesn't reflect light underwater anyways, so I was using 20-pound line, 7/4 heavy rod, you know, just jacking them whenever they bit. But I feel like Dylan learned some techniques that he's gonna take all the way through his career. And I was telling him on the ride in, there's no right and wrong way to fishing. I showed him how I do some things. I showed him some ways I've learned from other people, and I showed him a lot of things I've learned on my own. And if he takes that foundation that he already has and adds that to it and then continues learning every day on the water, the kid has a really bright future. This is a Liquid Mayhem crawfish scent. And there's a few things. When I see one acting like this fish is, he's wanting to do figure eights, but he's running into the wall every time he tries. This is a fish in a tournament that I'm gonna say is coming in the boat, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what I'm gonna do, and yeah, you don't wanna get your hands on that really. This stuff is the real deal. It's actually real, you know, crawfish pheromones and stuff. But the more realistic you can make it, you know, crawfish, bluegill, those are predators of those eggs, and it might just give you that little edge to get him to go ahead and bite. The other thing I'm gonna do with a fish like this is I'm gonna get physical with him. I'm gonna throw it over his back when he's there, and I'm gonna pop him right in the side of the head. Now they have to be hooked in the mouth. You can't hook them, but if you pop them, a lot of times they'll turn and just snatch it. And that's that gill flare I'm talking about. If you see the gill flare and wait, you're not gonna catch it. If you see his belly, you don't wanna jerk right away because he might not have his mouth open yet. So throw back in there where you've been throwing. Oh yeah, you got that under control. He turned on it. Get him, get him! Swing it, swing it. That a boy. I told you he was coming in the boat, didn't I?
Yeah.
Let's get him off of there. Get it out of there. Hold him up for the camera there. Good job. Good job, man. That's fun stuff, isn't it, boy?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Brian, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity in life. I really appreciate it. And thank you, Jay, for letting me come out and fish today. If you got an opportunity, don't be afraid to take it.
Well, I'm now here with Ryan Reiswick, our Southwest Region Supervisor of Fisheries Division. And Ryan, the guys today had a great time fishing, but it was mostly about teaching the techniques and passing on what one angler knows to a new one. And this is a great lake to do that, right?
Yeah, this is a great lake. This fishery here has quite a few largemouth bass. In fact, it's very popular for largemouth bass fishing. This lake was renovated back in the early 90s. So the lake was drained, and they did some work on the dam and some other things. And after it refilled, we had what we call a kind of a new lake effect. So we had a lot of fish. we had a lot of big fish, and it was really good for anglers. At that time, we had a slot limit, and the intention of that was to kind of protect some of those middle of the road sized fish so that they would end up growing into the large fish that everybody likes to catch. Somewhere along that time frame as well, attitudes within the fishing community kind of changed. We had quite a bit of harvest that took place among our anglers back in the day, and then that kind of changed with this catch and release mentality. And that was really neat to see that anglers could buy into this management strategy. We actually use harvest as a tool as fisheries managers, and that's the case here. We started noticing that our growth had slowed in our largemouth bass, and so we weren't seeing those big fish that everybody likes to catch. So we did our standard sampling, and we looked at age structure and size structure, and we realized that we needed to make a regulation change.
So you have regulations now that actually encourage people, even though our anglers today didn't keep any and weren't set up to do that. But it's not only a good idea, we're encouraging people to keep bass.
Yeah, here at Lake Elmer Thomas, we actually do not have a size limit on fish you can keep. Now, there's still a daily bag limit, but we want to encourage harvest with our anglers. The reason for that is that, as we've mentioned, there's plenty of fish here, and although that sounds like a good thing, sometimes that can lead to problems, such as not enough food for all these fish to eat. That being the case, we like to encourage harvest of those fish so that the remaining fish have plenty to eat, plenty of space, and they can grow really well.
You know, one of the more interesting aspects of Elmer Thomas is it's popular with scuba divers too.
Yeah, it is. This spot is really unique for Southwest Oklahoma. I really enjoy it. It's really cool. It's got some neat features that you're not going to find elsewhere. We're sandwiched right between Fort Sill and the Wichita Mountain Wildlife Refuge, which is where we're at Elmer Thomas. This lake is owned partially by the Wildlife Refuge as well as Fort Sill. They share ownership here, and there's plenty of opportunities on the Wildlife Refuge for hiking and camping and fishing, bird watching, you name it, as well as history on Fort Sill, the town of Medicine Park. We have a new aquarium in Medicine Park. There's really a ton of things to do down here that most people don't really know about, and I'd encourage people to come down here and check it out.
You know, Ryan, there's an angler right here, and that reminds me, this is a no-wake lake.
Yeah, a couple things that everybody needs to know when they come out here is that it is a no-wake lake. The lake's about 400 acres, well, a little less than 400 acres. So it provides opportunities for bass boats along with kayaks, canoes, things like that. But anglers and boaters need to remember that it is no wake, and that's just to help provide a good experience to everybody out here.
Well, thanks, Ryan. It's always a pleasure to get to hang out in your neck of the woods. You know, if you haven't been down to Elmer Thomas and discovered that it's really truly one of Oklahoma's hidden gems, then you really should make a trip down here and see it for yourself. And while you're at it, bring someone else along with you and show them the ropes and teach them what you know about fishing. Hey, thanks for joining us today. For all of us at your wildlife department, I'm Todd Craighead, and we'll see you right back here next time on Outdoor Oklahoma.
My name is Luke Taylor. I'm a fish hatchery technician, and today we are at Canton Lake. We raised several million walleye eggs and saugeye eggs, but we're stocking walleye fry into Canton today. First of March, when the water temperature is about 45 degrees, the regional crew will come out and they'll set pike nets along the dam. We'll collect the female walleye and the male walleye. We'll have them on the boat on fresh water, and they'll bring them to the shore where they have a trailer. And in the trailer they have all the supplies they need for spawning the fish. They'll spawn the female, and then they'll have to have 3 or 4 males for every female. And they'll mix the eggs and the milt and put them on a truck and send them to the fish hatchery for us to incubate the eggs. We'll count the eggs and put them on the hatching table, the hatching battery. In about 7 days, they'll start hatching, and we'll move them to the aquariums. Altogether, we'll we'll get about 7 or 8 million eggs, and they hatch, and then we'll bring them back to the lakes and stock them.